My wife got sick right before we got married. She was diagnosed with cancer. Shattered me. Anybody that you love and that you've chosen to commit to, you don't want them to suffer. You would take that for them. As much as I wanted, I couldn't. I couldn't take the cancer, but I could be there with her. And that's something I think so important, I believe. Whether it's in business or whether it's in community, even more in family, just your presence is the greatest present you can ever give to somebody. You don't have to be anything except you because you're enough.
Welcome to the Calgary Sessions. This is episode number 183. I'm your host, Jeff Humphreys. Before I get into it, if you like this podcast, please subscribe to it. That would be appreciated. Today's guest, it's always fun when we're talking off camera of just like, I know it's going to be a fun conversation when this person, when it's connected. And so we're connected to two great humans, the Chiasson family. And so it's just, I figured that out after the fact, after you're coming on here, but those connections they create this like very interesting organic energy to kick this thing off. So thanks for making the time to do this. Please name and who you are.
Michael Chiasson, and I'm a author, creator, storyteller, visionary, founder, and dad, husband, friend, all of it.
All the things.
All together, mashed up. Yeah.
The storyteller piece is going to be fascinating for me to dig into because this whole concept is rooted in storytelling, obviously, and what I do for a living is rooted in storytelling. So to actually say that out loud to the intro, this will be a fun one.
Yeah, I think you've created a story, just me walking in here though already. Like I could tell when I walked in, I said, man, there's something so intentional about what you've created, and just in getting to know you in the 5 minutes I've got to know you. Thank you for all that you do for Calgary, for businesses, for people, athletes, all of them.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's a very unique experience to have this show and like host people like you, because it is fun though to actually be in our own studio now and have you walk up the stairs and I watch all the reactions of people coming up.
Yeah, just
to watch their like body change, their eyes kind of like double clutch. They're like,
totally.
Where am I? So
well, I think that's what it is though. It's like when you walk into a space that you're inspired by. The inspiration comes usually from a very intentional idea or dream, and somehow to be able to create that and see it, that's miraculous to me. And I think the more that we can inspire others to see whatever they're dreaming about, and maybe that's getting back to it, is like, when did we stop dreaming? When did we stop creating? Do we get too old for it? No, now you got wisdom. Now you got the ability to actually run through certain moments in life very differently, more equipped, more powerful, right? And that's what I see. I mean, everything I keep looking. If I look distracted on this podcast, it's just everything's cool.
You bring up something like super fascinating though. It's like you almost get to that point, like you said, with a bunch of experiences in your background, and then it's like to go all in on it or to like trust it. That seems to be where the hesitation sometimes is. It's like, or it's like, there's too many responsibilities lurking in the background that you're just a little too tied up to take that little bit of risk. It's like managing that risk, I feel, is a big stumbling block.
And I think personality plays a huge part in that though, right? Like some people are, they love running into something that they don't know what the next page is going to look like, the next chapter is going to look like. Or some, they're a bit more reserved, a bit more kind of cautious, and there's not a good or bad or right or wrong there. I think it's when you get to, I think the self-aware leader, the self-aware person will always be the most effective, right? If I'm going to try to do what you do, the way you do it, I will only be a cheap imitation of that, only be a cheap imitation of that. And when we stop trying to battle of who's better and I want to be this, and then all of a sudden you realize that when we see it that way, and what you're doing, even with your gifts, your talents, your space, is that you're bringing all these great minds, these great ideas into a spot so that others can hear it. And I believe that that's what hope is to me, is HOPE, is hearing other people's experience. I think good. And so when you can hear that, that can inspire me to look at you and say, well, if Jeff did it, maybe I can do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It is quite the social experiment having these conversations, because it's like digging into that next layer, because people see the outcome right now, right? They see you at a point, they see me at a point. whatever that point is, but they're like lucky, whatever it is, right? But there's so much more to it, whether it's the self-awareness piece, experiences. There's just these simple conversations, I think, bring up these very unique perspectives. And what I love is, and sorry to take this fucking over for a second, but like growing up, the different way to do things wasn't a thing for me. That different path wasn't a thing. Like born in 77, no internet for a long time. So the idea of different was really hard to see. But in today's world, having these conversations just reinforces the fact that different is a cool angle and possible.
Well, it's look. I mean, think about you though. I mean, back in the '70s, and I was the early '80s kid, right? When the creatives and the dreamers and the people that seem to always have another idea. If you look back and reflect back on your upbringing, where you started from, that's part of your story. That's part of my story. You're very different today. I'm very different today.
Yeah.
And I've learned that a lot with people too, is that the version of anybody that you meet for the first time is the version they want you to meet. Not always the real version, right? And I think even for us, when we talked about this just when we walked in too, about our heroes, like that, the people that we look up to, whether it be a musician, a writer, a creator, or a academic, a thinker, whatever your thing is. You know them for what they've done, but you don't necessarily know who they are. And I told you that when I walked in. It's like you have a way of just, I feel kind of like I can disarm, right? And it's me and you here, and whoever watches, I hope it's helpful.
And I have some, I kind of know it does help. What's interesting, there's a really close friend of mine he's been listening to the show for a long time, and he's made like decisions in his life to change his path because of hearing these conversations.
Wow.
Which is really cool. Like it's a cool thing for me to hear because, as people DM me, like, hey, I feel this way. I've never thought about it, or I've felt this way, but I didn't trust it.
Right.
That's why these different conversations, these different ideas, I think are so important to get out. And I think we all have different ideas and thoughts and stories. So that's why this is so fun for me. It's like, I feel like jazz today. I'm like dialed right now for some reason. Like today you caught me on a day where I'm like,
I could tell.
I'm firing.
Let's go.
Have you seen one of these?
I saw a couple of clips.
Perfect.
But
not start to finish, which is perfect. So I like the guests kind of walk this thing back as far as they can go. So where they grew up, how they grew up, parents, siblings, jobs, school, all the way to where we are today.
Wow.
And the cool thing is it's fun for me to see all the pieces getting put on the board as the story goes.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like by the end of these conversations, it all makes sense because it's like experiences and like thoughts and all these pieces. So walk this thing back as far as you want to go.
Wow, man. Honored to. So I grew up in Houston, Texas. I was born kind of into a story that wasn't ideal when I look at it now. But you don't know any different, right? Sometimes people ask you, how in the world did you get through that? You knew no different. Like you received this, whatever it was, and you started walking through it, and you made some mistakes along the way. And hopefully if you fell, you realize you actually probably fell forward. And if you fell backwards a little bit, just look up and just stare at the stars, right, for a moment, and then get up and keep going. My parents were two people that loved life like crazy. My dad was a musician, kind of big time in his time. Jerry Lee Lewis and Roy Orbison and Elvis Presley, kind of that circle of influence. Back in the day, in his time, not many people made it, right? They didn't have the ways that we can now to get a song out or get an idea out. And so he kind of knew that his path wasn't going to be on the stage. He was a great songwriter. But he bought a club and kind of had all those people come there. And my mom was, I think, drawn to that, drawn to his charisma. He's a very, very charismatic guy. You were always the most important person in the room. That's what I loved about him. My mom and my dad, when they got together, though, I came into the world not planned. And so they did what they thought they were supposed to do and get married and, do that life, right? And unfortunately, that didn't work well. They were divorced when I was 3 years old. And that I remember that one of my earliest memories of that was I couldn't understand it, right? My dad was holding me and my mom was walking away. And I remember reaching out to my mom. She grabbed me, and then I'd reach back to my dad because I knew that there was something that was kind of separating. And that always stayed with me, even to this day. And I lived with my mom for the first few years after, up until grade 2. But my mom got sick. My mom struggled a lot with a lot of mental health and struggles with addiction and relationships that were unhealthy. Loved me, but I don't know at those times knew how, right? And so that always put me on a place of always watching, always being prepared of who's around, who's in the room, how do I get out, where do I go? And it was almost a protection that I had to kind of, I never knew that, but hyper aware, right? It serves me well in my career today because I can walk into a room and be hyper aware of what's around, and you can lean in or pull back or make somebody smile if they have to smile, like, or you can hit the gas and let's go deep, right? So when I was in second grade, my mom got really sick, and there was an ultimatum on the table. My dad says, "I'll take him, but I got to have full custody." So, and that story was probably hard for my mom to hear, like feeling that she didn't have a choice. Yeah. But it was the best decision that could have been made. I mean, with my dad, he was a single father my whole life. Had his own struggles and financially, but it never tried to. I never took on what if I had known would have taken on. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like if I would have known that there was that much struggle, kind of thought about it, but he would always find a way, always make a way, and did the best that he could. I'm grateful for that, but because there's stability, right? And I mean, obviously he was a hippie guy too, so it was like our place was always an open door. But I would always look around too. I'd see my friends and their families and wonder, like, what's that like? There's a desire, and there's a part of mom and dad that play a huge role in all of our lives, right? And when one of those is missing or not there, on a regular kind of schedule, we miss out. But remembering that everybody's doing the best they can, right? And so if somebody finds themselves, well, that's not perfect. No, you're going to make it great. That's what you've been given right now. But where we go from here is the decisions that we make today determine the stories and the life we live tomorrow. Like, if I want that to change, so what does that change look like? What is the dream? What's the ideal? And we start taking one step. But going back to what you said earlier, it's like sometimes we look at the seasoned people that have worked on their relationship or worked on their business or worked on their craft, whatever it is. And we're seeing that side of that story, but we don't know the behind the scenes. We don't know the struggle and the battle. We don't know what they've been holding in their heart or the reason why. Maybe that was the one outlet that allowed them to have a little bit of peace, right? And the older that we get, we start to realize, man, I want to work that out. Like I want to get to know, like, what are the things that I've told myself that's not true, right? Because if I'm a rock star or a champion on a stage, and then when I get home, I'm a different person, or when I get around my team, I'm a different person. I need to evaluate that, right? And not that we're asking for perfection all the time. Please don't. I hope nobody takes that away. But it's just that everybody's entitled to a bad day, right? But when the bad days start multiplying and multiplying and multiplying, that's where community becomes so important. It's at whatever stage of life you're in, right? Surrounding yourself with the people that are going to love you when the best of times, and they're going to love you when the version of Jeff might have a hard time, or the version of Michael might have a hard time. And so in growing up with my dad, it was we never told each other we loved each other. I mean, I kind of knew it. One thing he did though is he called me out on things, in the weirdest way. It's like I knew that there were no rules, and my daughter said, "Well, Papa never made you." I'm like, "Yeah, I learned, okay." And that's kind of what we do nowadays is we look back, but we can also forget what it was like. So sometimes it's when if you have a niece or a son or a daughter or somebody that's younger than you, What did you need at that age? Just think about that. Even though it's different, right? It's very different. But don't let that word different become your excuse as to why you're not going to get to know.
When you're a youngster, looking around at the other kids, families, did you know that things were different for you? And were you kind of aware of, dad raising you a single parent, different family background? Like, were you very aware of the situation you were in?
I had, two of my best friends growing up, actually three of them that we were actually pretty close for a while. One had a strong family unit. One had a mom that was mostly in the picture.
Yep.
And then my other best friend had a dad that was just in the picture, right? So we kind of had a mix, but that was kind of the tribe that we spent most of our time together, in the good and the bad, right? And the curious and the let's figure this out. And oh my God, what did I just do? And so but you look around at people that even that had more than you, right? Like, well, how did that happen? But my dad was also, he owned his own silk screening T-shirt business.
Awesome.
He asked me to work for him. He paid me like nothing, so I just slept. I feel bad for that, but man, he did it. Like, he had a idea, a dream. He left a construction company job that he was the vice president for that, and just went all in and sacrificed it. Like, he went to driving a decent car to driving an old school beat up station wagon. That was awesome in junior high, getting driven up in that car. But it's like you start to realize as you get older, it's like this image is such an important thing to people, right? How you're perceived. And when you look back on it now, it's like, man, I should have got out of that car like proud. Like, my dad did that. Yeah, he might not be the most financially successful, but I guarantee you he's loving what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When you were a youngster, what kind of had your attention? Were you like sports, school? Was it just surviving? Like, what were you into?
No, I played sports. I played baseball. Loved baseball, and then realized like I got bored really easy. I tried football. I tried out for. I wrote about this actually. I tried out for football in junior high school. My dad loved football, and so I got out there, and I was the only white kid on my team, or one of the few. And I had a big mouth. Like, I could talk, and I was small, and I could run. Okay, that's what I knew I could do. And somehow I talked myself on to being the first string wide receiver. And I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, okay. And I wrote about the very first play of the game that I was in. My dad was there. My dad was like over the top. He loved to take pictures. He loved photography. And we're in the huddle, and I'm looking, and I see this person running down the bleachers, and I'm like, what? Because I got ADHD like crazy, and I'm always distracted by something. I'm like, what? That person's run. Where are they going? Yeah, we're in the huddle, and but they're not stopping. They go onto the sidelines. I'm like, they got to stop. It runs onto the field. I'm like, oh my God, that's my dad. I'm in junior high school. This is like, I'm done. I am done. I'm done. Runs right up. Couldn't help himself. Hey, and he always called me baby, which was not great, but I guess that's the Texas saying, hey, baby. And he said, I got to take a picture. Like, who? That's my dad. And they were all in, man. They took a picture, and he ran back, and they just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I think to myself, man, that I didn't do well that first play.
Rattled. If
my job was not catching a football, my job was to block. And if you would have saw what was coming at me that day, I moved, and I'm like, I'm good. You go tackle him. That's fine. And coach got mad. Well, why didn't you stand there? I was like, Coach, I like my life. Like, he would have run me over. Play it again. Do the play again. Down, set, hut. The guy's running at me again, and I tell this in my talks. I said, have you ever just wanted to be on the other team just for a moment? And I got out of the way, and we all tackled our guy together. I got pulled off, sat on the bench the rest of the game, the rest of the season. And I bet you that my dad would have, for sure, got in there and blocked for me, but he couldn't. That was my moment. That was my story that I had to fail through. I had to learn through. But who was always still in the stands? He was, right? Just proud to be there, right? So I took a lot from that, and hope to be more like that, right?
Was football, Texas is a thing
Yeah.
by itself, but like Texas football,
Huge.
it's like another level of madness.
Huge. And I realized that my football career was over that year. But I love the team. I love the dynamic. I love the people. I love the passion. The work ethic, I didn't have that. I mean, people they're so committed. And maybe that was the question I started to kind of look. It's like, what would inspire me enough to take time when I didn't have to?
Yeah.
Right? What was that? Music was always huge to me. Like that was one of the gifts that my dad passed on. I was always playing guitar since I was a young kid. Started playing music professionally when I was 14. Had the chance to tour and travel, meet a lot of great people, and kind of knew that was going to be the path for me somehow.
Yep.
To be honest, Jeff, I loved being the supporting role. Like I could help that person create moments. I could help them shine. I could, say something funny in the middle, or play a cool lick and elevate.
Yep.
It was the experience. I knew that a moment can create a movement for good, and I knew that from a very young age, because I know that a moment can create a movement for challenge and pain too, right? That quick.
Yep.
And that's why I think that's there events and moments like that can be powerful. This moment can be powerful.
Was your dad like quiet with you? Like when you said you guys never said I love you, and then right beside that, you have this wild musical background, which obviously you're around a super musical person, owns a club. That's like, what were the conversations like? Was it kind of watch? Did he expose you to things and kind of just let you choose your own adventure or how did you kind of get on the path?
Yeah, I see a lot of this in my daughter and I now, that my dad was not a great teacher. All right. He's like, show you once and then do it. And he can get frustrated really easily. And like I'm stubborn. And so I'll never forget one time I had to change the guitar strings. I didn't know how to do it. And I put them on backwards. Like you're supposed to turn them one way and I turn them the other way. And he's like, you did that wrong. I'm like, no, I didn't. I like doing it this way. And I stuck my heels down and I was committed. This is how it's going to be. Come to find out, that's not the way you do it. Right. But I noticed that being challenged in something was not easy for me.
Yeah.
Right. And you learn that dynamic with a father and son together by themselves. Right. But as I started to get older and getting into crowds and situations that weren't the best for me, because I was trying to figure life out too. My mom was still in and out of my life during these times. And that always created a lot of unknown anxiety and pressure. Because I never knew what I was walking into. Yeah. Right. And for me, when you're kind of navigating that one, it was like the people that are closest to you usually catches the worst of it. Right. That's why I love the analogy of baseball. Right. What's the whole goal of baseball is to get home safe. That's the point. Right. And you're not always going to hit a home run. You're not always going to get on base. So you're going to help somebody else get on base or whatever your role is on that team, right? And I thought, man, getting home safe, like what does that define that, right? Define that for you, define that for our family. And sometimes when we're not in the best of places, everything's on edge at that point. And I started to notice that with my dad too, because I mean, he had a lot of friends, but not a lot of deep friends, not a lot of close friends. But enough to be connected, but far enough away, right? My dad did kind of find his way to calm down by drinking at night. He did a lot of that, but it was always at home, right? Never. He kind of figured out his routine, his path, and that was his thing, right? And I think there was a point in life where it's actually the best of years, I think, that we end up just kind of pulling back, and I guess that's just the cards. I guess that's just the hand I'm dealt. Right?
Was music like a passion, an escape, just a skill that you had naturally that you just kind of like had fun with, so got better at it? Like how'd the music piece enter into your world?
I don't know how to read music. It was all by hearing it, watching. In the beginning, there was always guitar around at home. My dad and I rarely played together. There was a couple of times that I said, Dad, can we play guitars? He's like, yeah. So he'd teach me a few licks, and those were very memorable to me. But I think what he did for me was allowed me to figure that out, though, right? Because sometimes if a parent is really good at something, right, they want their kid to be really good like them. And sometimes we'll do that in order to show our parent or whoever raising us that, oh yeah, I want to be accepted, or I want you to see that I care. But sometimes it's the unspoken, right? But yeah, he never pushed that on me, but I just kept figuring it out, right? And then all of a sudden it almost becomes like the magnet. Like you start doing something, you're going to start attracting people to you. It's going to happen. But you got to learn quick about what the intention of those people are, right? Why are you here? What do you want from me? And I realized too that I had a hard time saying no, right? And so I'd give everything away. I'd just do anything for nothing. And even to this day, like as I'm getting older now, I'm like, well, you got to take care of yourself too, or you got family. But I love the generosity. I learned that from my dad. My dad would give the shirt off his back, and that was great. But I also look back and I also noticed like, could you be that generous to yourself too? That's where I think true generosity gets freaking like amplified like crazy, right? It's always easy to do for somebody else, right? Like certain times of the year, people get generous, right? Especially right now. Yep. Giving to somebody or seeing somebody in need. Let me help you. But there's also 11 more months in the year, right? I want that to be just our heart all the time. But we can't do everything for everybody. But we can always do something for somebody. And so every stage I'm on, every opportunity I get, like with you, very honored by this. This is what we can do right now. But I can walk out of your studio here and see a whole lot of pain, a whole lot of problems out there. And we got to learn how to navigate that one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. At 14, the music thing is like all of you.
Yeah.
Is there a balance? And from 14, kind of like through high school, was there a balance, or was it like music, and it was just like trying to figure your own shit out?
Yeah, it's curiosities. And I grew up in church. I mean, that was a big part of my dad's kind of rhythm that he taught to me. Went to mass on Sunday, and that was non-negotiable. Okay, I'm like, why? Why are we doing this kind of thing, right? And but I knew that if I didn't I don't want to deal with that. Tell you that much right now. But the more that you would go, you start questioning things like, what is this really all about, right? And a buddy of mine invited me to his church that had a youth group. It was a different denomination. And man, they were fun. They were alive. They were real. And I got kind of connected, and they knew I played music. So I started playing music with them. And then at our home church that we went to, St. Rose in Houston, they had these youth ministers come, and he was a musician, the husband. He was mega, like he was so good. And he said, why don't you just come back and I'll teach you what I know. And that was the drawback. It was the music that remember the magnet, right? Like you're going to start attracting things and people, but just because they're attracted, you got to kind of look at, okay, like get to know them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in high school, I got a scholarship to go to a private school, which I couldn't afford. And that clearly was not my path. I only lasted half the semester.
Wait.
Oh man, it's crazy. It was so bad.
What was it? What was it? Just like what was the things or multiple things that just like this is not your spot?
Well, hugely academic. I love the people there, but it was an expensive school to go to, and they were so generous with the scholarship for me to go, and loved them. But they were actually quite honest with me too. They're like, you've got some gifts, and you've got some talent, but this just is not the place. And it was interesting because I would have thought that would have like crushed me, right? Like having to sit in the counselor's office and hear that. I'm like, oh, but when it was authentic like that, it wasn't that you're a bad person. right? So the difference between facts and truth, by the way, the fact is, and I failed the 7th grade, but the truth is I'm not a failure. The fact is I went to this high school in Houston, Houston Christian High School, and realized that that was not my place. I would not thrive there. I would constantly be fighting for air, right? Met some really, really great people though. But even the fact is it didn't work out, but the truth is it opened up another door, right? And so I went back to my original high school that I was in, and got connected with some people that really helped me understand what it was to mask a lot of emotions and feelings that you have, right? Through, anything I can get my hands on, just to drink it or take it, right? And it was interesting that when you can numb the pain for the moment, you can breathe. Yeah. But wherever you go, there you are. And wherever you move, your baggage gets forwarded to your new address. Hi. And that was, and my dad called me out in these moments. I'll never forget that. And I saw how it broke his heart. And when I saw how it broke his heart, I'm like, ooh, that's important, because he doesn't, if he says something, I better pay attention, right? And that was that was big. But I had all along the way mentors that I look back and I hope I never forget them.
You leave that school.
Yeah.
Was that the trigger to like start kind of, were things catching up to you then? Or was it kind of like, was that the trigger of like, you were, was turning to booze or whatever you were doing, like making bad decisions? Was it a build up to that point and that was the breaking point, or was that the trigger to actually?
Oh, I was always curious. I loved everybody, and that's what they love. So I'm in. I'm in. Let's go. Let's go. But as I was getting older, though, I started to really recognize my story, though, and my story was not what I liked. I didn't like it. Right? I was always becoming the person I needed to be for everybody else, but who was Michael? And I think a lot of us go through that, right? My mom had a 20-year sentence, prison sentence. The hands that she was dealt her whole life is so heartbreaking. And the relationship with my mom was very fractured for many, many years. We're just now, after the release of the book that was released not long ago, before we published the book, my publisher said, we've talked to the legal team and we've got a few things. Number one, you probably want to talk to this person, let them know that you're sharing this story. And the second thing is, does your mom know about this? I'm like, huh? No. And we've kind of on and off, but it hasn't been consistent. And they're like, well, we'll leave it to you because this is your story. But we just want to encourage you to maybe consider having that conversation. And I hung up the phone. I'm like, I've considered we're not going to do that one. I don't want to do that. And when I found myself fighting with myself in the car, like everybody talks to themselves. Some people just don't talk to themselves out loud. I mean, of course, that's kind of weird sometimes, but I called her. And I think it was one of the coolest breakthroughs that we had, because what I experienced and what she experienced were two totally different stories. And she sat with it. I knew it was going to be hard, and want to share her points of view in all these moments that happened. And I welcomed that. But at the end of the day, that was my path. That was what I experienced through that. Right. And she's not a bad person by no means. But just the thing after thing after thing that would always happen, I'm like, man, your heart breaks for that. Your heart breaks for that, right? But we end up putting ourselves in a situation, and the magnet attracts, and sometimes we got to get out of that situation. Yeah. And it's a lot easier said than done. I will say that. Yeah. Because I don't think there's a do this, and you're going to get an outcome, right? You and I can do that and get a completely different outcome.
The concept makes a lot of sense. So it's almost like hard to execute it or hard to put yourself in that position to like do it over and over to create those opportunities. It's like,
Right.
you say magnet, and my head kind of went to like serendipity, creating those moments of like this, right? The people we know,
Right.
it's random, right? I'm at their office and they're like, I'm like, what are the chances that the week before this guy's name's in my inbox and the week after I'm there standing in front of your old office?
Wow.
Like that serendipity, like that. And it's almost like a magnet, right?
Absolutely.
You put yourself out there, do the right thing, create opportunities for these things to happen. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's vague.
Totally.
And as I'm listening to your story, it's like, you're so well-spoken and thoughtful now, but in the moment, it's hard to even know what these ideas are about. You're just trying to like figure out the next day.
Yeah, well, for sure. Yeah. And that's why I say the version of you of whoever that shows up, that's the version they want you to see, by the way, but I got really interested in what's behind the scenes of that. Right. And because if we can somehow inspire that in somebody, that's hope.
Yeah.
That's hope to me.
Yeah.
Right. Walking off the stage and having that one kid or that one executive, whatever platform we're on, just to be able to look and say, I needed that. And in that, that was the stage of that moment, right? That's the stage of that moment.
Yeah.
Every moment's a stage, right? Own the one that you have right now, right? And learn from it. Do I want it to be better? Do I want it to be bigger? Do I want it to be, flashier? What's your dream? Always comes back to you and me.
So interesting you're saying that right now. I feel like when I told you at the start of the show, like I'm like fully in today, I think a lot of it has to do with how you present yourself though. And so when you say that stage thing, right? It's like when you show up here and you take the time to walk around, you're listening, you're asking questions, and your answers are like thoughtful and there's some depth to them. I think it like pushes me into a spot of like, I gotta be here. I gotta like get to your level so that you and I can have a decent conversation. So I think it's interesting as soon as like the stage that you're on, it's right away I'm like deconstructing this situation.
Fun. I like it. It's the creative, right? It's I think that's the other piece too, is that the older that you get, sometimes we say some people get grumpier. Okay, that's up to you. But it's almost like you're so self-aware, right? And you're socially competent. So there's 4 things I've been working on lately in my brain. Haven't fully fleshed these out, but self-awareness, I think is critical. Social competence, like what is your role to play in this moment, or driving down the street? If your heart breaks for everything, you can't do everything. You can always do something. Emotional intelligence. Think about that one. Like, do we even know what that means? Do we know what our emotions are, right? Or our feelings, right? And then relational responsibility is the 4th one. Like, what is my responsibility in this relationship with this person who looks up to me, or this person I've chosen to be with and spend my life with, celebrate 20 years with this year. Crazy, hey?
Yes.
She's amazing.
Yes.
Like, seriously, you got to deal with this for this
You said it.
Okay. And then even, with my kids, my team, it's crazy.
It's a lot. And those 4 are heavy. Those aren't just like,
listen,
those aren't just like topical conversations.
I'm in a season right now in my life too, where it's like, when you start unpacking some stuff too, you better be ready, right? Like, are you ready to open that up? And sometimes I'll just go like, open them all up. Let's go. Right. And it's like, whoa. Okay. Because if you think of it as a tree, like an oak tree, right? And you open all this stuff up and, there's a branch and I'm going to get that branch because that branch is dead, and so you cut that branch off. Well, it's going to grow somewhere else. So it's getting down to the roots of those. But sometimes it's that path.
Yeah.
So I would say this, and I'm working on this, is that we got to fall back in love with the process. We got to love the process. Like, you're a masterpiece to be discovered. You got to know that. I see that 100%. And I could tell you that 1,000 times. And somebody could tell me that 1,000 times. And I could, feel something like that. But then I got to face the mirror again.
Yeah.
right? And the version that I see, man, do I ever wish I could see what other people see sometimes, if I'm being as honest as possible. But when we start to fall in love again with the process, we realize that we can celebrate the moments along the way and not just wait for the moments to finish.
Yeah.
So once I get there, then once I have this, wow, I'll prove to my... No, I told you this with the book. So many incredible people have been such champions to help me get there, from writers to supporters, everything. And I kept telling myself, because I'm a great procrastinator, man. I will, I'll wait till I'm inspired. No, that doesn't always work, right? But I kept thinking to myself, well, once the book is done, and I wasn't even thinking, yeah, maybe it'll be helpful, it might be successful, might not. But once that's done, then. But I told you, just when we walked in, I said, once the book was done, the train left and I didn't put my seatbelt on. And that's why it's been really hard for me. That I'd say the past 3 months is because it's so different, but it's another level, right? Not even from a place of, are you known? Are you successful? Are you good at what you do? It's more on a personal level, right? Now something is out there that's very different than you've ever done. Now, what are you going to do to honor that responsibility now? And I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm doing. Should I say that? I don't know. But and if I could go back to my younger self, like, what would you tell your 7th grade self? Think about that. Like, what would you tell him?
Because of this show and getting into these conversations, I like this occupies some brain power. Like the younger version of myself that struggled.
Yeah.
You know, grade 7, I was, life was pretty simple. You know, be good at sports, fail school, and that's it.
Right.
Like, don't get yelled at home. Go to church on Sundays.
Right.
But it's like, I think it's from 7 all the way to like, I don't know, 18, 19. All the pressures that we felt, all the heaviness, all the like decisions, or all these like mountains that we thought we had to climb at an early age, none of it matters. It's just like these tiny little moments that kind of build to then you get to our age. I'm almost 50. And you can look back on all these moments and they all make sense. But it's like the process. You said process, essentially it's that. It's a process from 7 to 50.
Right.
Just like, you have to enjoy it.
And it's a big deal. Like
is.
Everything is a big deal. And that's what I think as a parent now, like I gotta pull back a little bit, because like we usually come at it from a place of wisdom. What is that? Evaluated experience. No, it's your evaluated experience in your time, in your space of what you're going through. Though the context might look the same. A breakup or getting a car or driver's, whatever the thing is, right? And that is a big deal. And how do we show that this is important? Because if it's important to you, I want you to know that you're important to me. That's the relational responsibility, I think, right? Whereas now, where I'll share with the younger audiences that I have is, what is your future self going to thank you for today? What's one decision you can make today that your future self will thank you for? Everybody's got one. Be careful not to try to make a whole list like New Year's resolutions that's going to happen for like 2 days and then, I got next year. Let's try it again. Right?
Come out of high school.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan? Were you in a good spot? Were you like, did you know what the next steps were going to be?
Man, I thought I had a plan. One of the musicians I had the privilege to meet, his name was Tony Melendez. He's a guitar player with no arms, plays guitar with his feet. And I had the chance to play with him when I was younger. And I just figured I'd take a path like that. I'd go play guitar, figure that out, maybe write some songs. And there was an older lady at our church on Sunday. I would play in the band on Sunday, and then go live my life the rest of the week, and then kind of start to realize, ooh, something's not lining up here. But this old lady in our church ran up to me, screamed, Michael. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, why is she yelling my name? And she gives me this envelope that she got ordered off TV because she saw a school in Canada and thought I had to go there. Well, I'm not academic. Like, I knew that was not in the cards. That was just not going to happen. And I just said, I fill out the application. It was to a Bible school. What am I Bible school for? But I filled out the application, and I just said two things. I said, if I get accepted and I get away there, I'll go. Because I knew that my dad didn't have the money to pay for that. Mm-hmm. And so I sent off this application. I don't even think I told my dad I did it. And I get this letter back, and I was scared to open it. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here? And I open it, and I got accepted. And I'm like, that's only one of two. And that night, no word of a lie, my dad comes in. He says, Michael, I've been thinking about something. And what you don't know is when you're done high school this year, if you want to go anywhere you want to go, I'll buy you a ticket. And I'm like, those are my only two stipulations. I got to go. And I that's what got me to Canada.
Crazy.
Yeah, wild. I know. I should have put some more stipulations. Could have got some more stuff. I don't know. Anyway, so I come to Canada, and I went to a school year, kind of a formation year. The school's no longer there anymore. Met some great people. There was an artist that they became like family to me. She got asked to sing for the Pope when he came in 2002. And it was like, if you're going to start your career, like, that's a lot of people. You should probably start it now. And I toured with her for 5 years.
No way.
Yeah.
Where'd you move when you came here?
I was just outside of Edmonton.
Okay.
And then kind of did the whole road thing, went New Zealand, all kinds of places on the tours, and ended up in Calgary. And Janelle, who I played guitar for, and Jason and Joe, like I said, are like family. And during that time, and it was good people, right? We did a concert in Calgary, and 4 rows on the end, I never saw something so beautiful before. Like, I met lots of people. I always had a dream. To be married. I did. And I knew that it was possible. Even if you tell somebody that their dream is impossible, right? And you give them stats, you give them reasons, you give them your wisdom of what you know. Mm-hmm. There's still something in them say, yeah, but pay attention to that. Yeah, but especially when your heart starts beating fast and your fears start screaming loud. Because the closer you get to that, all of a sudden you realize that that's just the beginning. To make anything great, anything work, it's not just the introduction. Yeah. It's that when you start actually getting into the everyday, right? Mm-hmm. When you get seen for the good and the bad and the think about people we work with, people that we've worked with, great boss, great manager, whatever. And that changed that moment changed a lot. And I was like, there's no way that's going to happen. And I kept coming back to Calgary for different things, and she'd be there. And I'm like, all right, I got to talk to her. And I remember I walked up, and I was never lost for words, but I was scared out of my mind. And I tripped, I think, and I kind of pushed her. I'm like, oh, that's not a good first move. And she turned around, she goes, hi, hun. I like that. Hun. And I was like in this like moment, like stopped. And that was the beginning of actually seeing a dream possible, like right there, right? And I was 21 years old when we met, and married at 23.
Oh wow!
And that changed everything. I mean, I stopped touring with and playing music. My wife got sick right before we got married. She was diagnosed with cancer. Shattered me, because anybody that you love and that you've chosen to commit to, when they suffer, you don't want them to suffer. You would take that for them. And as much as I wanted, I couldn't. That wasn't mine. I couldn't take the cancer, but I could be there with her. And that's something I think so important, I believe. Whether it's in business or whether it's in in community, even more in family and people that you deeply care about, is sometimes being, just your presence is the greatest present you can ever give to somebody. Just your presence. Like, you don't have to be anything except you because you're enough, right? And we had to learn that. So I stopped traveling. I stopped speaking and playing music. I was doing more speaking at that point in my life. I didn't know what we were going to do. We ended up getting married, and she was going through all of her treatments. And so I called that church that we did that concert at. I called the priest. I said, "Hey, listen, I'm around. I never wanted to work in a church. That was never my on the dream list. I was the guy that would go into any place, a business or a church or a school, stir it up and get out, right?" But you know what it taught me, Jeff? This is really cool. It taught me when people come in and stir things up with great ideas or new things or this or that, what actually gets left behind? What are you leaving behind when you leave? And I had a hard knock lesson on life that way. I'm like, okay. Met some of the greatest people that I'm very close with today. And after we went through all the treatments, they caught it. Melissa was deemed cancer-free. I'm forever grateful that we were given that story. Not everybody gets that. And it's not because we're different, because we just accepted and walked through. We accepted what we had to accept, and we walked through it. Right? Didn't have to be the end of the journey. Right? And so we figured, okay, let's go. Let's dream, do our thing. And we found out we were going to be parents, and scared me to death, because like, what? Come on, like, I knew how I was as a kid, and if this kid is anything like me, Houston, we got a problem, right? But then I realized that life was now no longer just about me or Melissa and I. This life was about so much more than us, and it was a gift. It was a gift that some people want, some people dream of, and others are just like, I don't know if that's really my path or my calling. And they're okay, find the beautiful here and now, let it shape you, and learn from it. Right? Our first son was with us for 24 minutes. He came early. For 24 minutes, it was as if heaven kissed earth for us. There's a lot of doctors. It was a very high risk pregnancy, and for 24 minutes, we got to share him with all the doctors and nurses in the room. And 24 minutes later, he took his last breath, and his name is Jacob. I take that story of his life to heart, and I share it openly, because his life was only 24 minutes here, right? But it reminded me of today of 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. That's what we've got. What are we doing today, right? We don't always have to do something new, but just be in it. And if you got to be in something that's hard, and you try to get out of it, and it gets hard again, what is life giving you the opportunity to learn right now? Like, there's something there, right? For me, it's like learning how to ask for help. For me, it's learning how to put the right people that know how to do all the stuff I don't know how to do, and being okay that it's not going to be the way I think it should be. Because I don't even know what I'm doing anyways half the time, right? Just getting real. And that was hard, because in that moment with Jacob, I couldn't fix it. But I could be. My presence could be there together, right?
Did you know that? Did you know what you were doing in that situation? Or are you being able to, like, you've moved through it, and now you can look back on it and understand what's happening? But when you're actually in it, how are you, is your mind in a good place, and you're like working through the situation, or are you kind of working through a bunch of emotions?
Yeah, all of the above.
Yeah.
You're hyper aware. I mean, everything was at a level of like, we don't know what this next moment's going to look like, kind of deal, right? For Melissa, for our son, we didn't know if we were having a boy or a girl. We found out in the moment. to everybody else in the room, right? I'm just like on the doctor. I'll never forget. He pulled me outside of the room. He looked at me and said, "I'm proud of you," because we were told it was impossible that we would get to this point for him to even have a fighting chance. And when he said he's proud of me, I looked back at him and I said, "Proud of you too." I didn't know what to say to him. Like, what do you say? And he goes, "Man," he goes, "but whatever you decide, when we go into that room, I'm right here with you. We've got all the top doctors and nurses here that can help." But his heart was not strong enough, and so the fact that we had some time was a gift. But we never forget. That's why, like, if we can remember to fall in love again with the process, and what you do in that process as you get older and more seasoned changes. But just remember, it's still a process, and that way we can be mindful and not forget to just stop and pick up the guitar with your daughter and play a song, or take the time like today and say that there's no timeline on this, right? So whatever it's meant to be, it's meant to be. After that situation happened with Jacob, I ended up getting sick, and that was kind of my wake up call of like, okay, it's time to make some decisions that we need to make for us. And that's when we launched our registered charity that we have that inspires the world one student at a time. And we go in to motivate, challenge, and inspire, through storytelling, through life stories, real, funny, fun, all of the above. I say at every talk, I did not show up today to get you to believe what I believe or act how I act. That'll mess you up. But the goal is that we can all walk away more inspired than when we came in. You guys cool with that? And you just see them kind of disarm a little bit, right? And then now you have their attention, and you kind of share something that's helpful and hopeful, right? And we've been doing that now for 16 years. And so that's my heart of what we get to do to serve, schools and families and communities. And then the other side of it is being able to work on the corporate side, where keynote speaking and working with executive teams and entrepreneurs that are trying to figure it all out. We've learned a few things.
When you decided to spin up the charity, were you at a low point? And why did the charity start? What were you kind of working through at that time that you wanted to stand this thing up?
I knew music was powerful, but I knew that storytelling was powerful. And I never signed up to want to start something or found something. I was like, man, is there anybody else doing this that I can just kind of join with them? And my heart for it was, yes, I have a deep conviction of faith, very important to me, very deeply in my heart, my soul. But I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. If you got breath in your body, you're a masterpiece to be discovered. And I don't want to come at this trying to force. I want to hold a door open for you. That's what I want to do in every talk I give. I just want to hold a door open. And hey, if you connect to anything that I'm saying, there's the next step for you. I'm not a savior. I'm not a fixer. I can't fix you. I'm not a psychologist. But I know what it means to have somebody stand on a stage when I was in high school and say something that changed my life forever. And that's the power of you responding to the genius within you, or anybody watching this. And you know what that is. You know what that is. What would that 7th grade version of you tell you today, right? I mean, I don't know if I want to talk to that version of me, but it's kind of cool to think about that, right? Like, because you're a different version today. You're a better version. You're a wiser version. I hope you're a funner version. I hope you can still have fun and laugh and smile. I got to remind myself that, especially as of late, right? Because I start putting all these things that you just notice, like, man, like,
it's heavy,
very heavy.
The storytelling piece, charity, kind of, when you connect all these dots, did it make sense to you, like, why you're going down this path? And did you have to, was the charity like a full-time gig, or did you have something else on the side? Like, was there two things going on?
No, we were all in or nothing.
You doubled down.
Like, I think for some that have a heart for whatever it is to start a charity or a foundation, typically you go do something, make some money, and realize I want to do something with that money. Then you'll start your. I did it backwards.
Yeah, because there's stability in that model.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
There's just like...
we teach you. But I didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't know when I was messing up. Okay. So that was kind of the okay thing, I guess, that I would not do again. But what was interesting is I just started to share an idea with people.
Just in conversations?
In conversations. Like I got to know people that built businesses. I got to know people that were successful financially, but also relationally, but they were real, right? They were honest, and I wanted to learn from that. And then we put together a board, and they're like, "Let's do it." And I mean, every year, like the big thing for us is we never wanted to say no to a school because of money. That's not a sustainable model, right? Mm-hmm. And even to this day, I mean, after COVID hit, we made it through COVID. We went all virtual graduations we did for, I think, 30,000 students, talking like 30 to 40,000 a year now. And every year it's like the work that we do is extremely important. But then people will say, well, it's just an event. Like what's an event? I think it's a moment. It's a moment that speaks into some kid's life that could change their life forever. Maybe not now, but if you can create that moment, they'll never forget it. Right?
I agree with it, because when you think back as a kid, you have these moments you remember, right? You had your ones with your dad.
Yeah.
There's somebody on stage that said something which you need to tell me before I forget to say that. But like, it's vague.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I find fascinating in that environment is like, when you are exposed to that moment, sometimes it takes a long time to actually reflect back on that moment, be like, that's exactly why I was in that spot, or that's exactly what I needed to hear. But it's in the moment, you're like,
but you don't get the credit for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's, I think there's two things. If anybody's ever thinking about getting into the world of speaking to hundreds of teenagers at a time.
Sounds horrible, by the way.
I get jacked out of my mind for that. I do. I get jacked out of that because it's whatever you take from it.
Yeah.
I don't. And there's different arts of communication. Like some are very structured, very pointed. Like I got my 6 bullet points, and people need that. Some people. That's not how I've done it. But I have learned that everybody needs a somebody when it feels like nobody would understand. Everybody needs somebody, and we'll show up to be that somebody, right? And the other question, I mean, I think, as I'm reflecting back on the years of the charity, incredible people that have supported what we do, and every year is still like, man,
we're still here.
We're still going.
It's growing.
We're still going. Like it's, but I mean, you got to get the word out to people to let them help. You got to let them help you. Yeah. They can't help you if they don't know. But you start asking some really good questions, like, okay, is what you're doing effective? Is it really helpful? Number one. Number two is, if you are able to make a splash of good, will the doors be open to you? And if the answer is yes, then you got to figure it out then. So what's the challenge? Well, the value of what we bring versus what a school might be able to afford or whatever is like night and day difference, right? It doesn't measure up. And so you get creative and you start thinking of ways to invite people to let them know that you are fueling our mission to speak to these kids. Okay, so what's the outcome? What's the outcome? You can't just say you changed somebody's life. What does that mean, right? Like, oh, they wrote you a little letter or on direct message. So we figured out something really cool. Ready for this one? It was an accident, complete accident. Like I sometimes do that. I'm sure my team goes crazy half the time. Like, we're going to try this. And I had some paper next to one of my events, and there's a break coming up. And I said, if there's going to be a transaction here, right? Like they're a kid. Like, we can't ask for a donation. Like, no, it's not going to work. If I get them to write me a letter of how today helped them, who's that letter for? Me. How do I make that transaction about them? This is really cool now. And this was a complete accident. Called inspired moment. I believe it was. And I had this blank piece of paper and these pens. I said, hey, if today has helped you in any way, and you want to maybe be a part of something with me, I don't know what it is. We'll figure it out. Here's the title. Things I wish my parents knew. ... Anonymous. I don't want your name. If you want to write what grade you are, whatever, you can do that. But tell me, things you wish your parents knew. And I just left the letters, the paper over there, and I'm walking around during the break, and I look over, and they're writing. I said, what are they writing? I mean, some are like intense, man. They're giving her. I'm like, you write a book. I can't even write a book. And I just kept doing it. I kept offering them a chance to share their story. And I said that what you've shared with me might not change your circumstance, but your story might be a part of inspiring someone else to be able to change theirs. That's like shared wisdom now, right? And some of the letters we got, they were powerful, man. Like some were funny, some were, oh man, like rip your heart out. Some are like, oh, yeah, okay. As a parent, like I'm like, okay, I gotta be like ask these questions, or just stop talking and let them just be and share when they're ready, kind of deal. But as I started writing, I knew that transaction had some weight to it. It had some weight because what could that do for every teacher? What could that do for a church? What could that do for a business leader? To have information, because by the way, a lot of the people that work for you probably have kids, nieces, nephews, somebody that they're loving with all their heart. And that gets complicated. Life gets complicated because we take all that with us because we care, right? And we just figured out we got to share that, right? And so that's where the idea of the book, Things We Wish Our Parents Knew, came from. So it's a lot of stories of my life that I share at the events. Yep. And then at the end of each chapter, there's a couple of snippets of the letters. And I think it's the start of something. Like we kind of put a thing on social now where we share one letter a day, the actual letter. It's pretty powerful stuff.
It might be an understatement.
And I'm humbled by it.
Yeah.
And it's, I guess even in that process, if there's people that are entrepreneurs or creators or people that just are interested, is you can't think it's going to be perfect. It's killing me, man. It was killing me because, and I heard this about DreamWorks back in the day, where they never finish a movie. They simply have to release it. Otherwise, they'll get into so much details, and the details are important. We know that as like what you've created here, but there's a point that you can refine it as you go. Yeah. Or that's the next book, right? But here and now, what's the stage now? And let's do that, right? And if you're not a person of tenacity, like I'm not, you got to get people around you that are going to help you. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you call that like to have that moment? I don't know if you call it a happy accident, or how do you, when you schemed up the idea that puts you on a path to the book. Yeah. Obviously you start the charity, you have an idea of where it's going to go. There might be a goal of reaching tens of thousands of kids, which is great. You spin up the next idea, this random idea of like getting these kids to write it down. Again, it's vague. Sure. Right? It's like there's no blueprint for this idea. You didn't make a business plan. We started the charity, be like, I'm going to do this. Does that occupy any brain power for you? Like, it's a cool idea, and it's spun up into this new opportunity, which is the book, which then has the chance to spin into who knows what. Right. That path. There's a process to it, but like to get on that path, is that creativity? Is that just doing work and being in the right spot? Like, how do you wrap your head around you having that aha moment?
I don't think, to be honest, that I'm smart enough to come up with that on my own. Like, I'm just being real. Like I don't just sit in bed and think about, okay, what's the coolest idea that we can ever come up with? Like, I do believe that, my heart and where it's rooted, it was an inspired moment. Mm-hmm. And I think we all have them. Do we respond to all of them? Mm-hmm. Maybe. I hope more than not. But as a creative, so while all this was going on, we had a really, really, really challenging couple of months in the charity. Like, really had to figure out, where is this going? And I knew in my heart of hearts, like, it had to be a certain way, but I didn't know how to articulate that. And what I ended up doing is taking a step back and not speaking to the people on the team that were helping. It was all with great intention to try to help structure it. And I'll go back to the creative piece, because this was so eye-opening, and I got certified in this because it was phenomenal. I heard of this guy named Patrick Lencioni. I heard him speak. He's an organizational health guy. Has written some phenomenal books. And he was a great speaker. He's funny. And at the end, he came up with this thing called the working genius. I'm like, oh, here we go. Another assessment. Like, I've done all the personality stuff. I look at that and I'm like, man, that's why I'm so messed up. Okay, put that away. Or give it to my wife and say, okay, there's I'm not that crazy.
Not that just.
But here's the cool thing. And this might be helpful for you too. Personality is one thing. How we react, respond, all these kind of things. And our personalities can change over time, I think. The working genius is all about productivity. And there's 6 of them, okay? And if you look at any project, and this was the game changer for everything. You look at any project, a new idea, okay? The first genius is wonder. These are the people that always ask the questions, why are things the way they are? Is there a better way to do this? And if you've ever been in a meeting with one of these people, and you think they're threatening the idea like it's not good. No, they're asking a really big, they're like 30,000 feet in the air, right? Mm-hmm. And then once we figure out there's a problem to be solved, the genius of wonder, then you got the next piece, which is the inventors, right? The people that can come up with a new idea. You know people like that. Mm-hmm. They always got a new idea. You tell them, oh, I got a solution. Let's go, right? That's one of my geniuses. So that's the idea stage. But then we got to activate it. Mm-hmm. So you got the problem to be solved, and you got an idea to solve the problem. The next part of the stage, there's 2 in here, is if we're going to activate it, the next genius is discernment. And these are the people that you tell them anything about what you're about to do, and they can assess it. It's like naturally given to them. Like they can, they'll say something that you didn't even see. Do we have the right resource? Do we have the right time? People? Do we have the platform? All these kind of things that you can quickly assess on that. And you're wired that way. That's one of my geniuses. Mm-hmm. Everybody has 2 geniuses, 2 competencies, and 2 frustrations. Okay? I didn't think we were talking about this, but I think it's cool. Because this helped me so much. The discernment for me, and the reason why it's helped me as a communicator, I've always been this way, is being able to assess really quick what should or what should not. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And then after discernment, you got the people of galvanizing. They're the people on the team that are going to rally everybody. Mm-hmm. And they're not a cheerleader. They're in it too. They're going to rally everybody and make sure we're getting to the end. Because we started at 30,000 feet, mm-hmm. and now we got to land the plane. And the final 2, just really quick, are enablement, which is a productivity genius. Think about this. These are the people that always say, what can I take off your plate? Mm-hmm. I want to do this for you. And we don't want to give it away because I don't like it. You're not going to like it. And all of a sudden, you just stop them from actually loving what they do. And they would love to do that for you on the team, right? And the final one is tenacity. These are the people that have to put the period at the end of the sentence. Mm-hmm. And if you bring them a new idea and that period's not there, we got a problem. We got a problem. And so when we assess that on executive teams, it's like, oh my goodness. And I realized for me, when we were going through all that stuff, I was put in a role of galvanizing, rallying people, fundraising, and tenacity, finishing the projects. And those are my 2 frustrations. Mm. So quickly think about this. Your 2 geniuses are like a like a Yeti mug of coffee, stay hot for a long time. Your competencies, which you're probably known for, is this cup. And it's going to stay warm for a while, right? But your frustrations is this cup with a hole in the bottom. Like you ain't got much time. And you wonder, like from a productivity point of view, take your personality out of it. And so that's why for me, when I go back to the inspired moments or things like that, you got to learn how to check those. Yeah. And so when I would go to my wife and say, I got an idea. Well, she's assessing everything. Like, how are we going to do that? How are we going to pay for that? And out of love, right? And so what she's learned to do, and we learned this together. We were at a conference, and when people like me that are creatives and coming up with new ideas all the time, and discern that it's already a good idea, so we should do it. When I go to her, all Melissa's got to say is not how. She says how, it's just deflated everything out.
It doesn't work.
So what she does now, she goes, wow. And she just smiles. And she walks away. You want to know why, Jeff? Because 90% of the time it's not going to work. Yeah. But that idea got to the next idea that got to the next idea. So when we look again, like we talked about in the very beginning, it's kind of goes all like this, right? Is all the people that have done something that we look up to, what it took them to get there, well, it was that thing that was really good in the moment, but maybe didn't work, that led them to here, to here, to there, to boom, there they are today, right? Yeah. And that's what I love about when we get into that understanding of who we are with everything we've been through, every setback, kind of like a slingshot, man, it actually became a setup. Are you? If you're going to have the courage to believe that it's possible, and if you're going to have the courage to hope and pray for it, then you better have the courage to wait for it. Yeah. But the waiting doesn't mean stay still. The waiting means that, we still got to move, but I'm not ready to step up. Like if I give somebody a stadium of people to play their song or give their talk to, and they've never given that talk to 10 people, well, they might surprise you, but I don't know, right? Develop.
And it kind of goes back to that process idea too, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's kind of stuck out in this chat is like the process of it.
Yeah.
It's not glamorous. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of energy. There's like ups and downs. It's not this like straight upward, like smooth path. It's like, it's kind of ugly.
And the people that, like you learn the people that are with you. And some are just going to be there for seasons. And be grateful for that. Yeah. Be grateful for that. Because it's just like anybody that will work with you, right? They might not be there forever, but you gave them the opportunity. And you made them so much better for it. Yeah. That now you've allowed them to step into the next level of their genius, right? I love that so much. And that's what I want to be about. But for me to do that effectively, I need people to help me do what I'm not effective in. Everything from like social media. I don't know.
Social what?
I don't know how to do any of it. You got to be on that. I'm like, I have it. Well, why don't you have more fun? I don't. And even saying that, I don't know. All right. Is it because you're late? No. I just want to, it has to have a purpose, and I know it does, but it changes so fast too. Right.
Sure.
So
me hearing the story for the first time, which is, you can imagine how many cool stories I hear, but there's like where you are right now, passionate. I feel like you probably got a sense of like purpose in your life right now. I might be putting words in your mouth. What I'm hearing is that when you think about it, like all the way back to your start of your story, even like the flyer of coming up to Canada, do you give it much thought of how these little pieces, these one-off decisions have kind of put you where you are right now? And does it surprise you? Does it all make sense to you right now? Does it charge you up to keep making these organic decisions and like trusting it? Like how does it all fit for you right now?
It's scary. It is. It's I'm passionate about it. But I wrote this thing for another book that's getting released about 3 things. It's 1 chapter. It's called Steps, Chapters and Stages. So the steps are the everyday. So what we're learning each and every day, right? We go through them, the ups and the downs. You learn that sometimes you got to just allow yourself to be okay to not be okay.
Yep.
Right. Because you got support around you. And then it goes to the chapters of life. Ready for this? When's your birthday?
January 3rd.
January 3rd. Okay. So this chapter of this year of your life is about to come to an end. That's your, whatever year you are, that's the chapter of life you're in today. It's been written. Now, did you write it or did you let it be written for you? Right. Big thing. And so you take the chapters in your life and you reflect on that. What did I learn this year? What do I want? How do I want to start the next chapter? What's the title going to be? Right. And by the way, you're the author of it, so you could change the title of it. Right. But when we get intentional about that, and then life moves you to the stages, and the stages are the part that we're known for. This is your stage right here and right now. You're growing it. I see what you're doing here. It's amazing, man. Like if anybody's watching, you got to come see this place. It's incredible. But the stages in life become what you get to do now, right? Like especially later on when you're like, every dream that I've had, like, what is it, man? Now you have the time and the ability to do it. But recognizing when you're moving stages, the platform is changing. Learning how to operate changes too, right? You can't do everything anymore. And you have to allow other people to help you. And you also have to realize that it's going to expose parts of you that you never knew were hidden. You never knew that were maybe a struggle. And you got to learn. And the issue is that the older that we get and the more senior we might get in whatever industry or life season you're in, we feel like we're supposed to have it all together by now.
Yeah.
Well, who does? Man, we're just big kids. That's all we are. We are. And I don't ever want to lose a childlike heart either, right? Oh, we're professional. Well, what does that mean, professional? Yeah. Bring your humanity into that too, and you'll make that professional impactful.
Yeah.
You'll change the world for the better, even if it's just the people that you're working around in a circle. That's so. Circles always better than rows, by the way. That's where we make change. That's where change can really find some roots. Like what we're doing, like kind of in circle. You guys watching in circle? Yeah, in circle with us. Love it.
So where you are right now, trust it.
100%.
Just like this is what it is. Like it's in you.
100%. I think the difference now where I'm looking professionally, on the corporate side of things to help organizations and their executive teams, and that I believe can be extremely helpful in a very short amount of time. And that's my gifts. Come in, actually give you something effective that doesn't require me to have to keep coming back, kind of deal. Every audience I speak to, like I love that. Like I said, we're just big kids, more life experience. Yeah. And let's make that connection to get back to our motive. And so the story about the speaker, he was a motivational speaker that came to our high school, hated motivational speakers, couldn't stand him. The hell is this guy going to tell me that I know nothing? And I wrote in the book, I told him, I said, I made all my friends laugh. And I've told the story a lot, but he said, "Hey, funny man, stand up," in our theater, our high
You
school.
were like chirping loud enough that he could hear you?
I was chirping, making all my friends laugh. Yeah, it was awesome.
Very disrespectfully.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
I was speaker's worst nightmare.
That guy.
Yeah. And so when that happens in my talks, I'm like, I can't say nothing. I was you.
It's payback.
I was you. But here's the cool thing, is he called me out, stand up, and I stood up on top of my chair. He goes, "You think you're funny?" I said, "I'm funnier than you." And he says, "Well, since you don't get the attention at home that you need." And it got quiet.
Jesus.
I said, "This guy's good." So now, all eyes. And he said, "Tell me about your family." I talked about my dad. "Tell me about your mom." I don't talk about her. He respected it though. He said, "I'm not going to make you talk about her. But I got one question. Do you love your mom?" And I remember I clenched that was a moment when life called my bluff. Because it was interesting that everybody in the theater in our high school I didn't even care if they were looking at me, but I knew they weren't. Everybody was looking down like, what in the world is going on? And I'm like, tired. I'm tired of pretending. And all I knew what to say in that moment was what I felt. Our feelings can play tricks on us too, but I looked at him, I said, no, I don't. I said, because how could a mom walk out? Not knowing her story either. And he looked at me and he said, if I can prove to you that you love your mom, would you sit down and listen to my talk? Give it your best shot. Ready? He said, if you didn't love your mom, it wouldn't hurt. And that's when I sat down. And that's when I realized I'll never forget that. Never forget that moment. To take something that I was like so wrapped up in, not even knowing how to articulate it. And that's what I've learned too about a lot of us, kids and adults, is sometimes we don't know how to articulate it. And sometimes we ask a question needing to get to a different answer, but we need that patience. Again, the process, right? It's all about the process. Love them enough to let them walk that process with you.
Wild story, man.
Crazy.
Like to put a bow on this whole thing with that story.
Yeah.
Obviously you're a talented storyteller, but that, right? As you're telling that story, I'm like, I have a strong like visual side to me. So you can really picture that scenario. And at that age to actually be called out and stood up and all the things, like it's not a make or break thing, but it's a heavy spot.
And but I learned so much in that moment because he could have used that to make me just rightfully be put in my place.
For sure.
Because if you don't call out the things, but he called it out in a way that I was actually important to him. Yeah. And it wasn't about him showing how good he was. Right. And that's, I love that, man.
Yeah. Talented dude.
Wow. Yeah. Don't even remember his name.
Crazy. Hey,
figure that
Isn't that wild?
That's the point.
Yeah. That one moment, this guy has no idea what he did in that one.
So whatever anybody's doing, just remember that the motive, that's the motivation. Because you have no idea if you own a restaurant or if you're starting a business or a clothing line or a online whatever, you have no idea what that person may be going through in that day. And just by your visible presence of responding to your moment, they're walking through your doors or going to go across your site or whatever it is, and you're going to allow your, whatever that is, to be a part of their moment now. Maybe to make them smile, maybe to be grateful for, maybe to think, maybe to laugh. I don't know what it is. Share a moment. It's all good. Remember that one.
Thanks for doing this.
You are welcome. You're welcome.
I'm guessing you have a sense now why I enjoy doing these so much. It's just a cool experience.
Yeah.
It's just, it's amazing for me. It's a privilege for me to sit across, listen to your story, and just, you can imagine all the stuff I'd learned, guest after guest after guest. So when you asked me before this thing started, who's your favorite? What's your favorite? I'm like, this isn't the bailout, like cheesy answer. It's like, it's always the previous guest, the week before. It's just like, it just lines up. So thanks for doing this.
And to you, I do want to say this, and to your audience, I don't know much, but all I do know is that the more that we respond to the inspired moments, we're not going to be perfect at them. Well, I don't have all the answers by no means, but together, when we respond, we make it better. And that next stage that you go to, just make a little bit more room on it. Let somebody else stand there with you, right? Help somebody else get to the top. And yeah, man, I'm excited to share our work, share what we've just released and all that good stuff. So.
I end the show with one question. When I say Calgary, where does your head go?
I knew you were going to ask that question. And my head went to two places. The first thing that it came to was home. Like when I'm on the road and I'm getting on a plane to come home, it's like, yes, that one feeling. But the other thing, Calgary for me is the people. I've met some of the greatest people on the planet that will, and you think you got a dream? Yeah, you talk to, and they'll help you. Mm-hmm. Some of the most generous people on the planet that have a heart. They have a heart for this. That's what makes Calgary, I think, for me, so unique and amazing, is that I can, even places, we lived in a couple of different areas in Calgary, and they all have their own like uniqueness to them.
Yeah.
And they're amazing, and they're awesome, and they're Calgary. Yeah. And I love that. I mean, it's like the best recipe ever, that we're about to have this big old backyard boil, and it's going to be, yeah, let's go. Let's get creative. Let's get spicy. I don't know. I love it.
Thanks again for doing this.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you.